Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's actually an unboxing of this. Now a few videos ago I actually mentioned that I really wanted a 3D pen, and that for a long time now I haven't been able to afford one because the one I wanted to get was a little bit expensive. I know you can get cheaper ones on Amazon and eBay and that kind of thing, but I really wanted to get one that had some good quality and that I could just trust, because I'm always scared of buying like cheaper alternative stuff and then having it not work out. But anyways, I decided to go for the 3Doodler Create. Now mainly because this is the world's first 3D printing pen, and yeah, I just really liked that they had over 65 different colors. And I actually like that they have a lot of projects and stuff on their website that you can actually download and make. I thought that was really cute. So now just getting into the unboxing, and yeah, here it is. First we have this little quick start guide here, which I'm just unfolding to have a look at and just to show you guys. And after that we have this little manual here. Now it's actually a pretty thick manual. I believe a lot of it is instructions in lots of different languages, so it's pretty nice that they actually do that. Now here are the filaments that actually come with the pen, and as you can see, the flexi one, a lot of those filaments are all mixed up, but I guess it just happened in shipping. But yeah, I actually got with this some flexi filament and also a sort of highlighter pack of matte looking fluid, I guess. Now I believe the highlighter looking one is actually ABS. Throughout my research before actually getting this item, I thought perhaps I would prefer to use PLA, mainly because I have heard that, yeah, it's just a lot nicer and doesn't smell, I guess. So here is the actual 3D pen. Now my first impressions on this are actually pretty good. The build looks very nice. It's got this sort of aluminium look to it. I believe it's probably made of aluminium. But yeah, I actually really like the color of the pen itself. I actually thought it was going to be black, but it's sort of darkish blue, I guess. So here we have the cable that we're going to use, and also some tools for the pen as well. I believe that long pointy one is to unblock filament and to help reverse filament out of the pen when it's too short. And then we also have a little one underneath the sticker there, which I believe is to take off the nib or the hot end, the little tip that the filament comes out, and that's so you can actually change ends, because there's actually a little nozzle set which you can buy separately. And yeah. Now this is a little screwdriver looking thing. I believe it is to open up the back here in case you've got some kind of blockage or something like that. So that's really useful that these little items come with the pen, so that just makes things a little bit easier, and I actually appreciate that stuff comes with it. Now getting a look at this quick start guide, it's actually got some useful information. So if you're just starting out with 3D pen making, there is a lot of good info on this little leaflet here. So make sure you have a look if you're going to get one, and read the instructions, because you know what? Instructions are there to help you. Now, along with this pen, I actually purchased some more packs of filaments separately. Now, I believe this is the PLA, which I mentioned earlier that I guessed that I was going to prefer, so that's why I made sure that I got some of that as well. And yeah, so here are the 4 different packs of filament that I have today, and yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with these. And yeah, let's get into testing out the pen. So the instructions say the first thing you do is to make sure you plug it in and turn it on to the setting for your filament. Now with the PLA that I'm using here, it's apparently the low setting, so that's what I did. Now it says it takes about 60 to 90 seconds to heat up, but mine actually took a lot quicker than that. I feel like it was about 30 or 40 seconds really, but to be honest, that's probably just an average, and you know, it is the low setting, so perhaps it was quicker to heat up. So once it heats up, the light becomes green or blue depending on which setting that you're using. So yeah, here is the filament. Now the first thing I noticed when looking up this 3D pen is that the filaments are in sort of long straight strands instead of coils. Now I knew that this was going to be a little bit of a downside because I felt like the filament may be a bit short and you'd have to keep refilling it every time you run out of filament. But you know what, I was like, there's still good things about this pen, so I still wanted to try it. Now here you can see me first trying to draw little lines on this paper. Now I mainly did this as a test because when I first use a new art supply, I kind of like to swatch it out and get a feel for how it works before I actually create something, and I thought that this applied as well to the 3D pen. So yeah, I just did what it said on the instructions and did a little dollop on the paper, and then as it was coming out, just bring the pen up and tap the button to stop it, and then hold it for a few seconds and basically let go, and you know what, it worked. Now here you can see I am trying to create my first item with this 3D pen, and that is a little cube. Now yeah, it's not the best cube, but you know what, this video is me mainly trying out something new, so the results aren't going to be the best. However, I do plan on using this again and again, so my skills with this 3D pen shall improve, hopefully. So here is my little cube, and this plastic actually dries really quickly, so you know, after a few seconds of it being in the air, it has cooled down, and yeah, you've got your little 3D creation. Well, not the best obviously, however it is something that I made, so to be honest, I find that pretty cool. Now to remove the filament out of the back of the pen here, you apparently double tap either button, and it sort of ejects it a little bit. Now it takes a little while for it to finally eject it out of the little motor thing. However, once that stops, you can just pull it out of the 3D pen here, and as you can see, the end of the filament is a little bit misshapen. Now it says on the instructions to make sure you cut that part off because since it is randomly shaped, if you insert that back into the pen, it will most likely jam the device, so you don't want that to happen. So yeah, that's why I chopped the end off, and yeah, that was actually pretty simple and straightforward, I guess. Now, I wasn't sure what I actually wanted to create for this video because I wanted to do something a little bit ambitious, but also something that I could do with the colors that I had. The different packs came with some interesting choices of colors, and not everything I could make had those colors in mind. So I actually had to decide on a Pokemon that was the colors that I had available to me. My first thought was Pichu because there was a good amount of black and yellow. However, Pikachu actually has brown on him too. He has these stripes on the back of, on his backside that were brown, so I obviously could not do Pikachu. So I actually decided to go with Pichu as the Pokemon that I would create, mainly because it was simple enough in anatomy, and it could also, there was no brown on Pichu. Pichu's mainly just black and yellow. So I started off with some random circle kind of shapes, which I ended up sort of gluing together with the filament, and that's how I was able to get a sort of 3D shape that I could then build on. Now I decided it was a little bit too boxy, so I did some little other archy kind of shapes over the top, which then I could connect to the figure with some more filament. Now I quickly realized that I would be using up a lot of this filament, mainly because I had started to run out fairly quickly, which was a worry that I had with the straight filament strips that this pen uses. And I was correct. A lot of the time I found I ran out of filament, especially at a time where I was trying to do something important, and I would then have to put down my creation, stop, load more filament, and have the filament spit out of the end of the pen as I was trying to load more in. So as you can see, there's lots of little bits all over the table, which was the filament coming out of the pen as I was trying to load more into the back of it. And yeah, that is a little bit of a drawback with this pen. However, I found that this pen was a lot of fun to use, and yeah. So after I finally got a nice little spherical shape for Pichu's head, I went on with the body. Now I obviously didn't film most of me creating the body for this Pokemon. However, I just got some little random lines coming down from the head in a sort of cylinder shape, and then I sort of built upon that, trying to make sure that the shape kind of came out where his belly was. And yeah, I did a similar technique for the legs as well, and for the feet I just drew some little feet shapes down on the paper. And then after I got those nicely sized for Pichu's feet, I then connected them to his legs. Now you're probably wondering, why is this Pichu green and blue? And this is mainly because I knew I was going to be using up a lot of filament, so I tried to save the yellow for the end, where I would do a nice layer of yellow all over Pichu's body. But of course I wanted to make the ears and tail out of the colors that they actually were, because the ears and tail are pretty thin on Pichu, so I didn't want to bulk it up with other colors. So for the ears and tail, I mainly just drew what they would look like down on a piece of paper, and then I basically traced over them and colored them in with the filament. Once the filament was nice and dry, I was able to peel them up off the paper, and then I turned them over and then did another layer on the other side, mainly because the paper kind of stuck to them a little bit, but also because since it was down on that flat paper, it kind of had a different texture, so I wanted the front and the back of the ears to look the same. Now Pichu has obviously got a little bit more shapeliness on him, and it was time to fill him in with the yellow filament. So it was a bit of a tedious task to actually fill in Pichu and make sure none of that other color was showing through. I tried my best, but obviously you can still see some color showing through. Now it was time to glue on the ears, and I basically just used the filament as if it was hot glue. It was a little bit difficult for me to hold the head and also hold the ears while also gluing it down with the pen, so I kind of glued the ears on a little bit of a different angle that Pichu had. I feel like the ears on this Pichu are a little bit pointed upwards. I would have preferred them a little bit more to the side because I think that's cuter. Now here we have Pichu with a very creepy red looking face. Now this is where I ran out of yellow filament. And I was pretty sad that I wasn't able to cover the whole thing in yellow filament like I planned. I really didn't want to have to paint Pichu. However, to get this video out and to finally get Pichu done, I had to paint him, mainly because I ran out of yellow filament. But anyways, after I did that, I mainly coloured in his cheeks with some more pink filament, and I was done. Now, I had a lot of fun using this 3D pen. It's something that I've wanted for a long time now, and I only recently got the opportunity to buy one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it useful or entertaining, or maybe a little bit, instructional about the 3D pen. Maybe you're looking one up to buy, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!